In this video, we're going to talk about how to solve one-step equations with fractions. So remember, when we're trying to find solutions, we need to undo the math operations in the original equation by doing opposite or inverse operations. The opposite of multiplying by a fraction is to multiply by the reciprocal. So that's how we're going to undo fraction multiplication whenever we see that in an algebra problem. Keep in mind that our goal when we're doing this is to isolate the variable. We want to get the variable by itself on one side of the equation. So let's look at this problem. We have 2 over 3 times x equals 12. So the math operation on x is that we are multiplying by 2/3. So the opposite of that would be to multiply by the reciprocal. So if we multiply by, so remember how to find the reciprocal is you flip the fraction. So that's going to be multiplying by 3 over 2. And that's how we're going to undo that in this algebra problem. So what is the math operation on y in 1 over 4y equals -2? Well, it's being multiplied by 1/4. So the opposite would be to multiply by the reciprocal, which is 4 over 1, which is also the same thing as the whole number 4. So don't forget the property of equality. If we multiply one side of the equation by a number, we must multiply the other side of the equation by the same number because we have that equal sign in the middle. So remember, you can add, subtract, multiply, or divide the same number on both sides of the equation. If we only multiply one side, we're changing the meaning, so we want to keep making sure that whatever we're doing to one side, we're repeating on the other side of the equation. So remember, our goal when we're doing this is to try and isolate the variable. We want to figure out its value, so we want an equation in a form like x equals some number. So let's try solving 2/3 x equals 12. So what's going on here? Well, 2/3 is multiplying x. So we want to undo that by multiplying by the reciprocal. So that's 3 over 2. And then we're going to multiply both sides by 3 over 2. So all of these terms will cancel. 3 and 3 will cancel. 2 and 2 will cancel. This 12, we're going to put that over 1 because that's how we multiply fractions. So 12 and 2 have a common factor. So this will reduce to 1 and this will reduce to 6. So let's multiply what we have left out. So on the left side, all we have is an x. The right side, we have 6 times 3, which is 18. So x equals 18 is our answer. Let's plug it back in and check our solution. So we have 2 over 3 times 18, and we're verifying whether that equals 12. So we'll put this 18 over 1. 3 and 18 have a common factor, so this will reduce to 6. 2 times 6 does equal 12, so that gives us 12 over 1, which is 12, and so our solution is correct. So now let's try solving -2 over 5x equals 10. So we're going to find the reciprocal of -2 over 5, that's -5 over 2. And we're going to multiply that on both sides of our equation. So on the left side, this -5 and 5 will reduce, leaving this as a -1. 2 and -2 will reduce, leaving that as -1. -1 times -1 is just 1. So all I have left on the left side is x. On the right side, I'm going to put this 10 over 1. 10 and 2 have a common factor, so this will reduce to 5. And then I have 5 times -5, so that's -25. So now let's plug this back into our original problem. -2 over 5 times -25. Does that equal 10? Well, that -25, let's put that over 1. 5 goes into 25 5 times, leaving that negative. And then we have -2 times -5, which does equal +10. So +10 equals 10, so our solution is correct. Now let's try solving 1 over 4 times x equals -2. So instead of multiplying by 1 over 4, I'm going to undo that by multiplying by the reciprocal, which is 4 over 1. So I'm going to do that to both sides of my equation. Here, the common factors will cancel, leaving me with just x. And then on the right side, I'm multiplying negative 2 times 4, which is negative 8. So I can plug this back in and verify that my solution is correct. So I get 1 over 4 times negative 8 equals negative 2. And I want to check if that's correct. 4 goes into negative 8 2 times, leaving that negative. And negative 2 over 1 does equal negative 2. So my solution is correct. So remember that given an equation, you can isolate the variable and solve to find solutions using inverse or opposite operations. The opposite of multiplying by a fraction is multiplying by its reciprocal.